Hello and welcome to StroongeCast episode 78.
Can I touch your legs?
Are you sure that's a work-safe question?
Well, we'll find out.
We'll find out, won't we?
Yeah.
Bit of a deep, dark one. But yeah, before that, how has your week been?
My week has been good.
Yeah,
I did some more baking.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, which has been really nice.
Tell them what you baked.
Well, I baked the lemon cake for you last Friday.
Yeah, but after that.
But then, well, no, because they won't have known that I baked my famous lemon cake that you love.
I love it.
Because you were feeling poorly. And then I baked this week a peach cake.
Very unique.
It was nice though, wasn't
It
it?
was fantastic.
Yeah. Ended up being really nice.
So I can safely say that for the first time in hundreds of years, I ate fruitcake.
Yeah.
It's my claim to fame.
Okay.
Or cake to fame. Anyway,
Yeah. Honestly. But yeah, it's been good. It's busier the second half. I've got lots to do the next few days over the weekend and stuff, but it's been nice and chilled.
Yeah.
So yeah, all good. What about you?
Honestly, not much. Bit of this and a bit of that. Bit of music making. I was on Jamulus last night, and that was fun. And there's a bass player that comes on every now and then. When Alf is busy, other people come in and play instead. Mm-hmm. And this guy, Anthony, came on from France, and he showed us an amazing groove, and we all just fell into it. It's great fun.
Nice.
I need to edit that after this podcast edit today. Because we played the first time a lot, and we didn't record it. And no one recorded it, and it's just that moment of, look what we did. So then we had to do a bit of it again. But yeah, that was cool. But yeah, honestly, it's much quieter than last week. Next week, I might go out with somebody that I know or have known for many years, but never met in person. It's just one of those things. If it happens, then you'll hear about it next episode. But I don't want to say in case I jinx it. But I'm excited if it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, my week's been quiet. But yeah, I think, honestly, it's funny because I think these things come in waves, don't they?
As
you
in
have a
when
lot.
you're busy and stuff.
Yeah, you have a lot, and then you don't
Yeah.
have anything, and then you have something, and you have nothing. Just.
Yeah.
By the way, I still want to go to Pizza Express.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we will. The Easter holidays are coming up soon.
Oh yeah.
We can do that as a little trip.
Well, it's longer than the last
of us.
one that we had off, isn't it? Because that was just a week.
Yeah,
I
half
feel like
term is
just-
a week.
There wasn't enough time to do anything. I didn't go
No.
out with the kids anywhere that week.
No.
I always want to do it once a holiday, but it doesn't always happen.
Yeah, Easter's 2 weeks. Obviously, Jake will be super busy revising
Yeah.
because it's not that long until his
But
GCSEs
he cannot
start.
revise every day,
No, of course not.
the entire day.
No.
So we must go out.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do the Westfield Pizza Express trip and we can get multiple things covered at once.
Mm-hmm.
Then we
Yeah,
can all
sounds
go.
good.
Nice. Fine then. So have you got a quiz for us this week?
I do. So last week's quiz question was what was the first toy to be advertised on television?
Did anybody answer that?
Do you know? Just as I was reading that, I suddenly realised that I haven't actually opened the
Virtual
comments.
mailbag.
I don't think that anybody specifically answered it.
No.
But the answer is Mr. Potato Head.
Definitely didn't see that in the comments.
No.
In German. Herr Kartoffelkopf. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that cool?
Is that actually what it is?
Well, Kartoffel is potato. And Kopf is head. So.
That's really funny. So this week's quiz question.
Yeah.
So roughly how many taste buds does the average human tongue have?
Oh, I think I learnt that in chemistry and forgot. Which is typical.
Mm-hmm.
I think most things at school I forget, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. There's not much that I remember, that's for sure. So looking at our comments from last week's episode.
Which, by the way, thanks for that. We love them.
Yeah, we love all the comments, definitely. My Funny Val said, thanked us for the well guard tip.
Oh, yeah. Well, God.
And also said anything happening on the Lego front.
Lego. Oh, your Lego build. Probably. Maybe he was asking if you're building any more things.
I am not. I am not building any things, and I am sad. But we just don't have the space. That's the thing. And the ones that I like, if I'm going to build something, I want it to be one of the big, like, ones that's going to take me hours.
Yeah.
And they're expensive.
Have you heard about the new Lego Smart Brick?
No.
So the new Lego Smart Brick, you should look it up after this. You can find a short on it or something. It's basically a brick that has wireless charge capability. It's got a speaker in it. It's got a light sensor, gyroscope, and it can make noises. And when you bring it into contact with other figures that have the NFCs tags in them, it can respond to those.
Wait, hold on. It's a brick.
Yes, it's a smart brick.
But I'm confused as to what the point of it is. Like, what?
So,
because a brick you build to make something else. So what is it?
Yeah. So they've got some Star Wars figures out now, Star Wars Lego sets.
Yeah.
And when you bring it into contact with like Luke or Leia, then it can make noises for those or whatever.
Oh, I see. So like more on an interactive basis.
Yes, but it's all offline, but it's using kind of low energy Bluetooth. So it's not ever going online. It's not, but it makes an internal network between the smart bricks you've got called BrickNet.
That's really cool. I will look at that.
You'll like it. It's quite fascinating. I've been watching some YouTube videos on it. I watched a teardown and people breaking it apart and looking inside, and it was really interesting.
Wow.
And they've been very clever. They future-proofed it by not making it play like a set amount of sounds.
Yeah.
It's a synthesizer that synthesizes the sounds, which means that any new Lego sets that come out in the future will be
So
told.
it's not going to be defunct like what we talked about the other day.
No, it shouldn't be e-brick,
brick
waste, which is very smart.
That is cool.
We should get you a set with at least one smart brick in it.
Yeah.
I don't know what we'll do.
Oh gosh.
Could
It's
be
very
cool.
windy outside and things are banging around out there.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That's the window. That's what that is. The window's being blown open and closed. So some of the other comments we got, quite a nice long one from Tara.
Thanks, Tara.
Yeah, thank you. Just talking about the foods, like sweets and different foods.
Oh,
and
she
things.
told us a load of really cool things.
Yeah, so she said that the powdered flavored candy in the straw was called
Pixie sticks.
Pixie Sticks, which I have heard of, but only in like American shows that I've watched.
Yes.
And she used to love those.
Oh, and also Patrick's mum said something on Facebook, Kathleen. She listens as well, but she only ever comments on Facebook. And I think she said something similar, that she enjoyed the
the
paper
Pixie
straws.
Sticks and stuff. Yeah.
Don't know if you saw that.
I think I did, yeah. I'll see if I can find it again. So she said that some of the other things that she remembers are Lunchables,
Yes.
which we still have now.
They still exist.
Yeah, they still exist. I think they've changed the name.
No, what you're thinking of possibly is Logan Paul, or is it, or Jake Paul, one of the Paul brothers, and KSI made a thing called a Lunchly.
No, that's not what I'm thinking. But
Weird.
there's also a similar one called like Snack Attack or something like that. But
That's actually kind of a good...
yeah. Pudding Pops. Again, I think that's a very American.
I feel like I've heard of it, though.
Pudding
but
Pops.
I don't
Yeah,
know
again,
why.
these are all things that I've heard of on TV shows that I've watched.
I think that's probably where we heard these things.
American. We've got pizza rolls.
I've never tried those, have we?
No, we don't have those. Tiny pockets of pizza goodness that become a favourite after-school snack. I feel like our kids would like that.
I'd like that.
Sloppy Joes, TV dinners, Tang, which is an orange powdered drink mix.
We briefly mentioned that or something.
We don't have Tang,
No, but I think we talked about it briefly at one point.
did we?
Yeah. And of course they make Kool-Aid like that, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Ring Pops, which we did have. So you would have like a big sort of hard sweet in the shape of a, I don't know, giant diamond or something on a plastic ring.
Oh, right. Okay.
I do remember those. Ecto Cooler,
Sounds
which was a
like
green
Ghostbusters.
citrus drink. Yeah, she said it was inspired by the Ghostbusters franchise.
Makes sense.
Fruit roll-ups. I mean, you still kind of have those now. We have, what are they called? Yo-yos.
Oh, yeah.
They're the same. They're like a wind-up fruit, like dried fruit thing. The kids used to like those when they were little. What else have we got? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pizza snacks.
More pizza.
Yeah. Dunkaroos, which were snack pots of cookies with sweet frosting for dipping.
Wow.
We don't have that specifically, but I can't remember what they were called. They were in like a little round pot and they were blue and they were little thin skinny breadsticks with a little dipping chocolate. That was such
I totally remember that.
a good snack. You can get that in a Nutella form.
Yeah.
But the blue one, I cannot remember what it was called, but it was such good chocolate.
It was nostalgic actually. Alice brought home these wafer squares the other day, didn't she?
She didn't bring them home. I got them from Asda.
Okay. They reminded me of being younger for some reason.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I had those many years ago. They're nice. Very nostalgic.
Big League Chew, which is shredded bubble gum. Which is, I can't imagine shredded bubble gum, like little tiny bits maybe?
You said something like that last week, but it was hard pieces, a bit different, but maybe similar.
Oh, the gold nugget stuff. I don't know if that was it bubble gum? Maybe it was. I can't remember now.
Strange stuff though. I can't believe the stuff we put in our faces.
I know. Because that was back then when everything was full of sugar. Like we weren't so concerned about it now and numbers and stuff. Now we're so much more careful, generally speaking.
Yeah.
She also said that the little ice cream beads were called Dippin' Dots over there.
Yes.
So if they're more of an ice cream, because she said they were basically tiny ice cream balls dipped in nitrogen. I think that sounds more like it's an ice cream, whereas the ones I was thinking of, the Calippo ones, they were like the same as what a Calippo is made of. So it's not creamy, it's more
icy flavored.
Yeah, basically.
We didn't mention Choc Ice. I know they still exist, but
yeah, we've got some in the freezer.
I used to eat them a lot as a kid.
Yeah, they're nice. And somebody did. My Funny Val, sorry. They did say the first tweet advertised was Mr. Potato Head.
Oh,
so well done. Sorry about that. It was at the bottom, so I missed it. And Marie said that she guesses that you and her are not friends anymore because you don't like chocolate and coconut together.
No. I disown you. Bye-bye.
And she also said that they still have Hot Pockets in the States.
Of course they do.
Yeah, we don't. I'm pretty sure we don't have them.
I'm slightly jealous of that.
Because
I did like them. And if you're sensible, you can eat them safely. But, people are often not. To be fair, right? A cheese toastie is just as bad as a Hot Pocket. It will rip your face apart.
Maybe. I don't know. When I've made them recently, they've not... It's not as bad as those little mini pizzas. Oh, the pizza.
I was just thinking
the ones, yeah.
That
wow, absolutely is killer. Because it's that thick, cheese. Much thicker cheese thing. That's the thing. Heated up melted cheese is just... It's dangerous. Really dangerous.
Very dangerous.
And because it's sticky. So, it sticks to your...
It sticks and it burns. And really I speak from experience.
You burnt your mouth on a pizza.
Really badly, didn't I? For a week.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Oh, but I love those pizzas. Now I'm just extra careful about them.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, now I'm really hungry. Can we go to Pizza Express?
Not today, no. The kids would be really upset if we did that without them.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Well, it's only, it's our anniversary next month. So,
Yes. And how long will you have been together?
Married.
Yeah.
17 years.
Look at that.
I know.
Veteran. Yeah.
Yeah. Only another 3 years and it's the big 2-0.
I know, right?
I have to do something. We did the cruise for the 10th.
We did.
What are we going to do for the 20th?
Another one.
Another cruise.
Yeah.
Well, we did say...
We did.
We did say that in 3 years' time, actually, that is a point. Mm-hmm. Alice will be doing her GCSEs. So when she's finished her GCSEs, Jake will probably be working.
Oh, I'm no doubt. He'll have been driving and flying around the place.
And we said that when she finishes her exams, that would be a really good time. So we could tie it all in.
Let's tie it all in.
Anniversary, end of exams.
I'm already looking forward to it. but I'm already hurting in the pocket.
Yeah, but we'll go outside of school holidays.
Yeah.
And maybe by that point, they'll be old enough they can have their own room. So we'll book 2 separate cabins.
Mm-hmm.
So it won't be the crazy expensive cabin that we
Sounds good to me.
treated ourselves to. But anyway, I feel like we're just talking admin stuff now.
No, it's future planning.
Planning
It's
our
all good.
lives on the pod.
We'll bring you back some audio.
Of course.
We love you all.
You're still here in 3 years.
Yeah.
The listeners, I mean, not you. Obviously, you're still here in 3 years.
I hope so. Gosh. I've got food to eat.
Yeah. So, can I touch your legs?
Well, depends who's asking.
Not me in this context,
Then no.
by the way.
You may not.
No.
How did this come about? Why did this come about?
Well, you should explain really, because it's because of you that it all happened.
I suppose. But
Yeah.
that's telling the story out of order. To tell the story in order, we kind of have to go back to 2012, I think. And I attended an interview at, and I don't remember where exactly it was, if it was the job centre or something like it. We had just had a baby Alice at the time.
Yep.
And I went to this interview on my own because they wanted to see me in person for me to prove that I could not see.
And just to say that the reason they do that is because you receive disability benefits.
Yes.
So what you receive is based on your condition for
That's
people
right.
that may not know.
Mm-hmm.
So despite them giving you benefits every month since what you were 18, I mean,
Yeah.
probably before, but it would have been
My
benefits
mum
to
then.
your mum. But yeah, for this same disability,
Which has not changed and
which
will not change.
has not changed.
It's not going to miraculously have a firmware update overnight and my eyes just start working.
No. So off you go to your meeting.
Yes, I took a cab there, and one of the I remember hearing a lot of very silly things when I got to this place. One of them, when I walked through the door, was that somebody couldn't get into the building because there was not step-free access, and they were in a wheelchair, and they were worried, and they were outside in a state, quite rightly, that they would be penalised for not making this whatever work appointment. And I even offered to go outside and help them get in, but I wasn't able to do that. They did solve it somehow. I remember the lift being very janky as well, even when you got inside. But the first thing that they said to me when I walked through the door was, quote, "Why are you here?" To which I said, "I don't really know. I mean, I've had this disability all my life." And they're like, "I can see that." Even the receptionist, right? If the receptionist can do that, you'd think these other people that are trained, supposedly, to know better would know better. But clearly not. Later on, we have some things to read out for you from similar situations. But
yeah, sorry, I was just loading that up to make sure I had it.
yeah, no. So
yeah.
I get guided to this upstairs bit. And I sit down with this woman and she asks a whole load of questions. And I try to be nice and honest, right? And that's the problem. Honesty, apparently, is not always going to get you places. So one of the things was like, if I were dropped off at a building site and needed to get home, could I do it? And I said, because I thought, being independent was the whole point, that yeah, I probably could. And she said, "Oh, how would you do that?" I said, "I would probably get my phone out and I'd call somebody. I'd get in a cab," because iPhone was a thing and we had FaceTime then. I could call my wife and she could navigate me out of this building site. What that made the lady write on the form, though, was that not that I had no eyesight, but poor eyesight. Okay? And I hadn't read the comments that she made because I didn't think to, but she was writing all this on paper. So I couldn't have read it personally anyway. But that's on me. I should have asked her to read it out to me from start to finish.
It's not on you. We're not going there. None of it is on you at all, because you don't expect that you would have to double check what a person is supposedly writing down about your medical conditions.
Right then.
So
I have been told.
yeah.
So basically this one was a bit of a cowbag. So we get back the report weeks later, right? But before that, all my benefits had been stopped with immediate effect. And when we get the letter back, it's because they thought I had made a fraudulent claim because I had written poor eyesight on the form, not no eyesight.
Well, she wrote down. She wrote down. It was actually put down as partially sighted. They said that you were partially sighted
instead of completely blind.
Instead of completely or totally or whatever word you want to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they stopped our benefits, having just had a new baby. You weren't working, and there was nothing coming in.
No.
And it was all a bit of a kerfuffle. I contacted RNIB of all places, and every time I think about that, it makes me a little bit sick in the mouth. But RNIB sometimes do good. And on this occasion, they did. And I had a very nice lady who helped me appeal.
She was a lawyer.
She was a lawyer, yep.
Yeah.
One of RNIB's actual lawyers. And she, I didn't even have to go into court, nothing like that. They appealed it, they backdated it, and everything got sorted. But for a while, we were living very hand-to-mouth, very hand-to-mouth indeed. And it really pissed us off. And so, I think 4 years went by, 2016, May of. We just moved into this place where we are now, a few months before. The kids are at school. We had a form to fill in, didn't we?
Yeah.
You say it was like a 20-page form.
Oh, it was so long. It was 20 plus pages. And
how did it come?
Oh, it's written. It's a horrible written booklet that
on
you
paper,
have to fill out.
By the way,
on paper.
My point was, it's on paper. It's not an online form.
And I think that you did say something to them. I think you called up and spoke to them because I remember there being some way, whether they sent you it as a PDF or some kind of form online or whatever it was, and you tried to do it and it just kept jumping from one box to another and it just wasn't working. Like there was no way that you could have done it.
Yeah, they did send a PDF in the end.
Yeah.
But because it was a PDF and not an actual full website, it made it kind of difficult to fill it out anyway.
Yeah. So we spent hours filling out this form.
Yep.
And obviously, having had the issue before, I tried to make it 100% clear what your actual disability was.
Yep.
Yeah. So despite the enormous form that we filled out, they still decided to call you in.
Yes, because they had the option of reviewing it and agreeing whether the form was filled in to their satisfaction and saying, oh, well, it must be the same, there's no point. But they wanted an in-person assessment.
Yeah.
And having been burnt severely by the last one, we decided that you were going to come along to this one.
I was definitely going.
And it's a good job you did, I think.
Yeah.
What happened at this assessment?
Makes me so angry, honestly.
It's very rare that my lovely wife gets riled up. But
it really is. But anything that's to do with, people challenging your disability and it was the way she kept trying to catch us out.
Oh, yeah.
So we went into the room, that was fine. We were sat there. She was asking you the questions, reasonable, normal questions to begin with. And then she started trying to catch you out, saying, well, can you read this on a piece of paper? And you said, no. And she just sort of looked at you and I said, he's totally blind. And she was like, oh, right, okay. And then she
would forget.
But I don't think she would forget. It wasn't that though, because then 5 minutes later, she would get something else, a sheet of paper with it written bigger. Well, can you read this? No, because he's totally blind. And you were sort of sat there quite quiet, I think a little bit bewildered by the fact that she kept asking this. And it was me, and I kept looking at her and being like, no. And I had to be really forceful with her at one point, which is completely not like me. I'm so not confrontational. It's actually annoying.
Not at the time you weren't.
Well,
you changed a bit.
I don't know, even now I'm not confrontational. I'll try in situations and stand up for things when I need to, but I still find it really difficult and I will avoid it at all costs. But in that moment, I was getting so frustrated. And, she asked you to read the screen. It was like, but we've said he's totally blind. And I had to almost spell it out and say, he cannot see anything. And she was like, right. And then she left the room at one point.
Oh, yeah. Didn't she go photocopy some random thing?
She supposedly went to photocopy, left the door open and left the computer sort of with the notes there. And again, it just really felt like she was trying to catch us out. Like,
I would get up and read it.
yeah, there was, it was, I can't remember why. It was just, there was something that just made it really, really
She was
feel
acting
like
very suspicious.
it was really strange. And then when she started talking about your mobility, because one of the things we'd said was, you know, about, if you would put in the middle of somewhere, that you don't know, could you get home? Well, no, because you don't know where you are. And yes, nowadays, you know, you can sit here and you can say, okay, well, I've got my phone, I can work out where I am, I can call for a cab, I can look at a train station, I can, you know, use different apps, all of that, blah, blah, blah. But we're talking about the use of technology to help you do that. If you are on your own, just dropped in the middle of a road, a field, wherever, you cannot.
A field is a good example. And so is like a massive car park, for example.
Yeah, but even a road, you know, without relying on other people and other things to help you, you can't look around and say, okay, there's a bus stop, I'm going to go to that bus stop and I'm going to work out I need to get this bus, or there's a train station, I'm going to go to the train station and look at the map. Like, you're relying on either technology or other people's help.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And that's what they don't understand with these questions. Can you walk down the street? Well, yes, physically.
Of course.
Your legs work, you can walk down the street. But we're not taking into account other people who wander slowly. So you're potentially bashing into other people from behind or coming towards you because people don't look. Roadworks. We live in London. There are always roadworks everywhere, or broken paving stones, or rubbish, or obstacles. There's always something, you know, cafes with chairs and tables.
Those are the worst.
All kinds of things. There's always something that means that you are potentially at risk when you step out of the door. And that's what they don't put in these questions and what they don't understand. They just say, can you walk from A to B? Well, yes, if A to B is a completely clear flat road with nobody else, I probably could. Or you probably could.
Yeah.
So,
and just to make it clear, right? This is not like a helpless blind expose.
No.
It's
It's not at all.
Right.
Absolutely
People
not.
listening may not get that.
No. And some people who are also, you know, blind or partially sighted might think, well, you're making it sound like I'm completely incapable. It's not about that at all. What it is trying to explain to these people that it's not as simple as...
It's not cut and dry.
It's not. Can you walk down the road? Yes, but
There's always a but.
There's always a but.
Yeah.
And there's always things to think about. You know, it's very different me going out and walking up to the high road than you going out and walking up to the high road.
And I can tell you this from experience. Jake and I went up to CEX, which is a computer shop. And almost every time we go up the road from our house, even though it's a quiet street, there's always a sign. And he always has to move the sign out of the way. Otherwise, we cannot pass the sign unless we go in the road.
Yeah.
So, and because signs don't make noise, I'm probably likely to just completely trash the sign. When I walk quickly.
Straight into it, because a lot of the time, the ones that are up there are head height.
They are.
And you're walking straight into it. So, you know,
That's
we're
the
not
but.
saying that you can never go out by yourself.
Oh, no.
Of course, you do. You know, you do stuff all the time, and that's absolutely fine. But when you're talking about
the way that they want to talk about it.
From a disability point of view,
yeah,
they need to take the bigger picture. That's the thing. It's not just a case of, okay, but you can't see, but you're able to walk, you're able to get up and get yourself ready, you're able to feed yourself. Like, yes, you can do all of these things, but they have obstacles that need to be thought about.
And you can be penalized, right, for answering honestly. So if I said yes, I could technically be penalized because the answer is yes. And they're looking for no's in basically all categories. So can I get up and dress myself? Yes. Once you're dressed, can you leave the house safely? Yes, but it's not the but that they want. And I suppose that's what I was trying to get at. The capability, they want you to be utterly hopeless and helpless. And it's horrible to say. And I think pretty much anyone filling in these forms will find the similar thing. You almost have to downplay your own abilities, even if it makes you feel worthless.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah.
And it still
really
does.
Hard. It is really hard because you know, it's never ever as simple as the questions put.
No, it isn't.
And so going back to the title, Can I Touch Your Legs?
Oh, yeah.
Was when she had questions about the walking and stuff. And she said, are you able to walk?
You saw me walk into the room.
Yeah. And she said, well, can I examine your legs? And you didn't say anything, which is really unusual because normally you would be the one with the... When I say attitude, you know what I mean. I don't mean like,
the
oh my gosh.
non-diplomacy
But
is what you're getting
I
at.
said, well, why would you need to do that? And she said, well, I just want to examine his legs. And I said, no, you don't need to do that. And I said no, because I thought there's absolutely no reason that this person needs to be touching you at all for anything, but to...
She's also not a doctor. And I would like to add, had it been the other way around, and it was a blind woman in the room and a male in the room as the assessor, that question should get you locked up.
Well, it was just completely inappropriate. There was absolutely no need. We weren't saying you're unable to walk. We weren't saying that we never said there was anything wrong with your ability to walk.
No.
So there was just no need for it. And she seemed quite taken aback when I said, no, you don't need to do that. No.
It serves no purpose.
It serves no purpose. And again, we just had to keep reiterating to her that there was no need and that you were totally blind.
Yes. Not totally unable to walk.
No.
Just totally blind.
It was just the most frustrating meeting I've ever been to, ever.
And these are the people that are paid, right, to make sure that we can still get money. And I don't think they're trained. I think they're pulled off the street, it seems like. Because it didn't seem like she was qualified to be an assessor.
Well, she didn't have any medical background.
So they just get any old body to do these things.
I
And
mean,
it's
I'm sure
frustrating.
that they are supposed to have had, I'm sure they have training because, I'm sure they do. But it's, these are the questions that they're told to ask. And I get that, it's like a call center job, isn't it? You have to do what you have to do. And these questions are there and she's got to ask them. But, when we went for the next interview, I don't know if you remember, it probably would have been the next 4 years.
Probably.
So what, 2020 maybe?
Yeah.
When we had to go back to the job centre, different one. And it was an actual doctor that we saw.
He was very kind, if I remember. We had like a 2-minute interview, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It
And
was
he
very
said,
fast.
I don't understand why you're here. And we explained and we told him a couple of our stories and he laughed because it is laughable. And yeah, he said, I just don't understand why you're here. Because for you, and for anybody that doesn't know, you've been blind since
Birth.
since birth. So there is never going to be anything that can change, ever. It's never going to change.
It's not a
And
temporary
despite
illness.
having provided evidence as much as you can, because you don't have anything wrong with your eyes in that you need appointments for or follow-ups or anything. I
think that confuses people as well.
Yeah, I think it does. I think they assume that, well, if you're blind, there must be something wrong with your eyes, so therefore you must be seeking medical help. You're not. It is what it is. It's never going to change. It's never going to be, there's never going to be a new technology that's going to make you see or,
there would be for some
suddenly I've
people.
woken up and oh my gosh, but for your particular
My particular
condition,
condition,
it's
there is
not
not.
going to change. So, to keep bringing you in every 4 years to check whether you're still blind and whether you still qualify is ridiculous because it's not ever going to be any different.
It's sort of like, hi, mate. How you doing? You still blind? Yeah. Okay, bye.
If it was that simple every 4 years, it would be fine.
You could
But
phone
it's
me up and
not.
ask me. But they
It's
won't do
the
it.
same thing, the same massive long booklet to go through, the same hoops to jump just to get what you deserve because of your condition.
It's horrible
Yeah,
and tedious.
it is. And I'm sure that lots of people
Oh, I should think that
have a lot
almost
of
every
stories.
blind person listening to this, possibly, at least in this country, has probably been through something similar.
Yeah.
But the most ironic, or one of the most ironic parts of the whole thing is back to that form. It's inaccessible. And they send it to you in print to begin with anyway. They don't email you and say, how would you like it, first of all. They'll waste the paper on it, even if you then don't end up using it. And it's us with the problem. Okay.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Give us some funny anecdotes. I think we need them after that.
Well, maybe funny. So I have seen this video of a guy, quite a young guy, who was currently on Universal Credit, looking for a job.
Whole video, isn't it?
This
really?
is kind of what sparked it. Yeah. So he's looking for a job, and he has many, many allergies. You know, I think pretty much all animals, dust, fur, chickens, dairy, he's got a lot of allergies. And he was told...
How do you even eat anything?
I don't know.
Poor guy.
I know.
As a foodie, I want to cry.
Well, I think he can eat meat. I think it's like more the touch on his skin that he's allergic to. I mean, dairy and stuff like that, obviously eating, but I don't think he's dairy meat.
Dairy me.
Oh, dairy meat. Sorry, I thought you said dairy meat. It's slightly different, but yeah. So he gets told to apply for a job at a chicken factory.
Chicken farm, no doubt.
Chicken farm, not factory. Sorry, I was thinking about egg factory, and then a chicken
so being
farm.
allergic to
being allergic to
eggs and such.
To eggs and the chickens. He's also allergic to the feathers in the chickens. He was told, and when he didn't apply for this job, he got sanctioned, which means that he had money withdrawn because he could not apply for a job that they told him to. And bear in mind that when he started this process, he had to give, medical history. So he's put all of his allergies and everything, and they still felt that it was appropriate to sanction him for not applying for a job in a place where he would be and I mean, he's got very severe allergies. Not just a case of, I'm going to sneeze a bit or itch my arm.
Oh, no.
You
could be hospitalized for this stuff.
Exactly. So then we started reading through some of the comments. And there's things like one person saying, I was told to apply for a job that started at 6 a.m. The first train didn't get there until 7 a.m. They told me to get the last train the day before and sleep at the station.
They're encouraging rough sleepers. And you can't sleep at stations because they have benches to stop you sleeping at stations. Yeah. And you'd get in trouble for loitering, and then you'd be in jail, and then you wouldn't have a job, and you'd be sanctioned. And oh, look.
As if you're actually going to sleep in a station. Like, you're not going to get any sleep anyway. So you're going to turn up at this new job completely exhausted. She's also a woman, right?
And unwashed and sweaty and horrible.
As if that's safe for a woman to be sleeping at. I mean, the whole thing is just utterly ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
We also have, when I had cancer, I applied for the limited capability for work payment and got denied because they told me cancer is a temporary illness.
Fastest way to say you're going to die tomorrow, isn't it? Wow.
I mean...
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Nasty.
I got sanctioned for saying it was pointless applying for jobs that had night shifts because who would look after my daughter? At night, they said that she'd be sleeping so I could still work. The daughter is 9 years old. So they thought it would be okay for a 9-year-old to be at home the entire night by herself because she'd be sleeping. So the mum doesn't need to be there.
It's not like kids ever have nightmares, anything ever happens.
No, fire,
like, all of that.
Anything, burglary, like anything could happen. 9 years old.
This is responsible parenting at its finest, people.
Yeah.
You do that.
I was sanctioned for not turning up to a work review because I was at work. Somebody said they're putting me in a call centre. I have anxiety and don't answer my own phone.
And what about the blind lady that you found on this as well?
This one, I don't know if this was the same one, but they gave my friend the highest level sanction because he refused an HGV driver job. He's legally blind and isn't allowed to drive.
That's not the one, but that's actually funny. The one that you said yesterday was a lady who is blind and refused a job because it was scaffolding.
This is really bad, though. I'm autistic, and one job coach I spoke to in a baby voice, said to me, "Everyone's a little autistic."
Oh, wow. The patronization level is through the roof with this one. I'm surprised that you still have a job.
I know.
And again, these are the people, right? Supposedly trained to deal with people with disabilities or allergies or hates again
They
chicken.
made my partner apply for a temporary Christmas job as a Santa's elf. He's 6'8", so he did not get the job.
Wow. What is happening here?
Yeah. I'm just trying to find the one. Oh, here we go. I am registered blind and they sent me a job doing scaffolding to apply for.
Yeah. I mean, I've met scaffolders. We even had some in our garden once. That is not a job you do if you're blind. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
He was a nice guy and everything, but you're up high with probably very little safety. I don't know. But look, that's not okay. But I think the HGV is actually quite funny, to be fair. Not good, but funny. If you want me to go and drive a massive multi-ton vehicle, can I just drive it straight through your offices? How's that?
This is so bad. My partner had an appointment. For context, he's an amputee. And the woman we saw kept saying things like him getting his foot through the door and taking the first step.
Oh, man.
I mean, come on.
There's a name for that kind of language. And I can't remember it now, but yeah. That's a problem. This whole thing is a problem. And I think what it boils down to is that medical professionals are necessary on jobs like these when you're dealing with people that have needs. And when you take someone off the street and give them like a 6-minute training course to watch, probably these days an AI video on YouTube from ChatGPT, that's not enough. And I think something has to change. This podcast isn't going to be the thing that does make the change, but it's just to raise awareness of the silliness that goes on. Something has to happen.
Yeah. I mean, there are just so many stories of very similar things, people in similar situations. And yeah, it's really crazy. And I mean, in a way, we've not got off lightly because, it was a very tricky situation when they cut everything. But when you read some people's stories, it could be so much worse.
Yeah. These comments kind of bring it home in a way.
Yeah.
We were unluckily lucky, if you will, or luckily unlucky, whichever way you want to look at it. But yeah, that's us.
That is that. Yeah.
How do you even go forward from here? Like the next couple of years, I'm sure the same form will come around again. And I just suppose we have to do what we did before. Just go, you and me. Because I should never do that by myself again.
You will never do it by yourself, don't worry. I'll always be there to stop them touching your legs.
Oh, good. I'm protected. You are my protectee.
Yes.
Okay, is good.
So.
Go on then.
Story for this week.
Yes.
I was rushed to hospital after waking up blue. Doctors couldn't stop staring at me. So this guy woke up in the morning feeling a bit tired, not had the best sleep, and pretty much his entire body was a deep blue colour. And his friend, who is a carer, took one look at him and said, "You look horrendous." Absolutely not. Straight off to hospital. Got there, they were really worried about him. I think I read somewhere in a different article that a doctor looked at him and said, "I've never seen anybody that colour who's still alive."
Wow.
Yeah. His hands were, the picture of them is incredible. Like a deep blue colour. They put him on oxygen, went to, take some bloods, using an alcohol wipe to clean the skin. The alcohol wipe turned blue.
Okay.
It was at that point that he realised that what he was actually covered in was the blue dye from the brand new duvet bed sheets he'd been sleeping in the night before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
And a very poorly made product.
He didn't think about washing them before, so he just slept in them.
This is a man.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I wish I was surprised now.
Yeah.
But
Navy blue bed sheets, and it just rubbed straight off on him.
I'm blue, double D, duvet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be his theme song for the rest of his life.
I should think so.
Eiffel 65. You got it. That's a win.
Oh, dear.
I know, right? I'm glad that you wash all our stuff before we use it.
Of course.
Who knows what colours we'd turn?
Also, it smells.
Yeah, I
Weird.
don't...
You should always wash bedding.
Yeah, fresh stuff from the factory often really does smell.
Mm.
Clothes in particular.
Yeah.
Have you ever not done that? Ever made the mistake?
No. Not with bedding and stuff.
Yeah.
No, never.
Good job. This is why I keep you around, see? She's so sensible.
Yeah.
And
Because I wash the bedding.
all right. So can I touch your legs?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that.
Fair enough.
Oh, dear.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. You can tell me afterwards. We'll leave it there for a week. Thanks for being with us. I hope you found some interest in this. Don't be like these people in these job centres. Mostly you're not, because most of you are blind. But for those of you who are not, have some empathy. You know, that's all it is. Bit of feeling, bit of understanding. And because you're listeners of our podcast, I know that you already have that anyway. You're very sensible people. So be kind to one another. Be kind to yourselves as well. That's a very important thing. I think in this time of strife and horribleness, we have to just realise that kindness is a gift. And whether you're giving it or receiving it, it's there for the taking. All right. Until next time.
Bye. Shall I tell you what was more pointless? And she was very, very nice, the lady. It was when she said, and we made it perfectly clear at the beginning, that you had no sight whatsoever. Nothing. And I said, you can't see shapes, you can't see colours, light or dark.
you can't see
Nothing. Yeah. Can't see that. And I made that perfectly clear. And then when she said to you, if I was to hold a piece of paper, would you be able to read any letters? I'm like, for fuck's sake. Did I not say at the beginning? And I know she has to ask the questions that are written down. But seriously, I said, you can't see anything. I could strip all my clothes off and dance around naked in front of him, and you would see no reaction whatsoever.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the knowledge of it, but yeah.
You wouldn't know, though. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that you wouldn't know.
It's a thought that counts.
Yeah, but if you don't know the thought.
Wow.
Oh, that's what irritates me the most. It's like I want to scream at these people. I can't see anything.
I'm going home for lunch now. I'm so fed up with this. So there we go.